It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of July 9th, 1993. Three movies to look at today, some notable movies this particular week. We're getting into the stretch where we've actually been in the stretch where we've been getting some notable movies the last couple of weeks, from Jurassic Park, Last Action Hero, Sleepless in Seattle, The Firm, and we're starting off this week with the biggest new release of the week, one of the year's best movies, actually. Wolfgang Petersen's political thriller starring Clint Eastwood, In the Line of Fire. I mean, that's Dirty Harry right there. Of course it's not going to happen again. Um, but in all seriousness, In the Line of Fire is a fantastic movie. I mean, I said it before, it's one of the best movies that came out this year. And it was a nice return to form for Wolfgang Petersen. I think this is one of his strongest films he had in a long time. He's made some good movies here and there, in between The Neverending Story and Das Boot and the Neverending Story. Stuff like Shattered was a decent film. Enemy Mine, some other ones I could... Actually, I think that was it. Let me double check here, because I've got his film here. Yeah, Enemy Mine and Shattered were the only other two movies, but this is definitely one of his strongest movies overall, and you can see why. It's not just a great direction by him, it's Clint Eastwood doing what Clint Eastwood does so well. John Malkovich plays a great villain in this movie. Rene Russo is very good in this movie. A great cast overall that also includes Dylan McDermott, Gary Cole, John Mahoney, Fred Dalton Thompson. And it's a very intense thriller. It's a movie where Eastwood really gives it his all, and the tension is very, very much there. You wonder how this is all going to end up. Sorry about. You're wondering how this is all going to end up at the very end of the movie, and it does take some nice little twists and turns that I really did not see coming, and that's one of the biggest things that I think really pushes this movie to another level. I mean, it's a great movie. I don't think I need to say too much more about it, because I think everybody's seen this movie enough already. In the Line of Fire, it's a fantastic film, and if you haven't seen it, again, you're doing yourself a huge disservice by not doing so. So anyway, with that said, let's move on to our next movie here, and that is the comedy Rookie of the Year. Yes, it's that other 1993 20th Century Fox baseball movie made for kids that's not called The Sandlot. Also, you could definitely tell that this movie is old when you're seeing names such as Bobby Bonilla playing for the Mets and Barry Bonds in a Pirates uniform. That's a memory from a long time ago. But yeah. Aside from that, I'm actually surprised at how much I really enjoyed this movie. I never saw this movie in full, but I knew of its existence, and I just never got around to seeing it until a couple of years ago, right at the peak of the pandemic. And I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. It's got the typical '90s kids sports movies formula. But at the same time, it is a fun little fantasy film. This kid gets this incredible throwing arm, these throwing powers, and then all of a sudden, I mean, just this idea that he has this arm, and all of a sudden he helps the Cubs win a championship. It's a good fantasy film, and it was like that for 23 more years until the Cubs actually won a World Series championship. So there's that. It is very much a typical formulaic family film, but a fun formulaic family film with a solid cast all around. Daniel Stern showing that he could have been a pretty good director. This is the only movie he ever directed, unfortunately. But yeah, Rookie of the Year definitely gets overshadowed a lot because of The Sandlot coming out in the same year, but I think it's just as enjoyable. It's got a nice charm, a nice heart to it, very funny. It's an not an overrated movie, an underrated movie that I think should be given proper attention nowadays. And thanks to Disney Plus, I think a lot of people have given it more attention. I think it deserves some more. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Rookie of the Year. Now let's go to the last movie that we have here, and that is Weekend at Bernie's 2. Yeah, remember when Mannequin 2 looked like it was going to be what we all thought Mannequin 1 was going to be? Weekend at Bernie's 2 is what we thought Weekend at Bernie's 1 was going to be, except Weekend at Bernie's was actually kind of funny and knew it was silly and stupid. And then we get this movie, which is so awful. So awful on so many levels. Nothing about it makes any sense. Nothing about it is funny. The effort isn't even there. I mean, just from the opening credits alone, you can start to see many of the problems with the movie. If you can't even get in between animation for your opening credits sequence, then don't do an animated opening. I mean, it's just that simple. But really, do I even need to say any more about this movie? It's an awful, awful movie that makes no sense whatsoever. Like, they have to get to Bernie to get to this money, but Bernie's been dead for so many years up to this point, and all of a sudden it's just going to be like, this dead guy is going to be we're going to get this dead guy and take him to the bank with us. It's going to be no problem whatsoever. And it just, like, how stupid can you get with this movie? This makes no sense. This movie makes no sense whatsoever. And it's no reason why this movie was the butt of so many jokes for shows and movies after this came out. It's just like, what were they thinking when they made this movie? I mean, Jesus, they couldn't make anything. They couldn't have made a somewhat decent sequel out of this. Then again, maybe it's just like Mannequin. Maybe it was just an idea that was good enough for just one movie, and trying to extend it into another movie could have killed it, and lo and behold, I've got nothing else to say about this one. Weekend at Bernie's 2. It's one of the worst comedies ever made, plain and simple. And on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we've got 4 movies to look at, including Disney's Hocus Pocus. And if you've never heard my thoughts on this movie, prepare to be really mad, because you're not going to like what I have to say about that one. But we do also have Free Willy that came out this weekend, as well as Road Scholar and Twist. So we'll look at those 4 movies on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.